Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
But Mark, we got to move on into our next topic, and we are talking NFL draft, baby, for the rest of the podcast.
Yep, we're back.
And really, I was talking to Dave after the fast break this past Saturday, Mark, and he said to me he doesn't know why the onside kick isn't just straight draft mode all the way till the end of May.
Other things happen sometimes.
We may have to do that, but right now, the Raider thing happened, so we had to talk about that in last week of Latavius Murray and everything that happened, but we're talking draft the rest of this podcast, and we're kind of doing what we like to do here this year on the Onside Kick. We did Malik Hooker versus Jamal Adams. We looked at Jonathan Allen versus Solomon Thomas. We're doing another player versus player here in the draft, and we're going to look at Haason Reddick and Reuben Foster. And the reason why we're doing this is kind of two things. In some mock drafts, we have seen Reddick jump Foster, and I want to say it was Rocky Jack that hit us up in the comment section on one of our videos, and he said, I cannot believe, it might have been Twitter, it might have been the comment section, but he said, I can't believe how some people have Reddick above Foster. It's asinine, it's insane, Foster is the better talent. And Mark, I'm going to throw it to you. If you are an NFL owner, an NFL GM, an NFL coach making a draft pick, and you need an inside linebacker, and that's who you're going with, and you have to pick one of these two.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you picking, Reddick or Foster?
Foster, 100% all the way. Yeah, I mean, I think Foster's just the better talent. He, he has less weaknesses as opposed to Reddick. It's also the fact that I don't think Reddick is going to be an inside linebacker in the NFL.
Think he's going to be outside?
Yeah, he's going to be outside. He's going to be pass rushing. He's going to be maybe the defensive end position. He's got to do something. He's not going to be in the inside here unless he changes up, bulks up a lot or something like that. I just think that Reuben Foster, for as much as people want to have him fall now, and as much as people are a little concerned about character or things like that, I think that, honestly, once he gets into a team and once he kind of has some of these older veterans say, hey, rookie, shut the fuck up, I think that's going to help him a lot. He just needs to kind of get into that atmosphere and just get in the locker room and start fixing himself and focusing on the game. I think that's going to help out a lot. Foster, 100% is the way I go.
Well, the thing with me is, I don't know who I would take, and I would kind of flip a coin because is Foster a top 10 talent? Yes. Is he, could you say, the best inside linebacker in this draft? Yes. Is he a phenomenal talent? Yes. However, the big question mark to me, and this is, I'm a guy where I look at these character issues a little bit more than someone else. There might be other people that just kind of brush them off. Oh, it's nothing. But the thing that I looked at, and I kind of said this in the conversation I had with Rocky Jack, either on Twitter or in the comment section, is the thing that I took away from the altercation that Reuben Foster had at the combine is you got to look at the little things. You got to look into it. And it's one of those things where he kind of treats the nurses and treats the doctor staff the way he did. Me as a GM, I would look at that and go, how much respect do you have for other people? Are you one of those guys where it's all about me, 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 and you have no respect for other people, and that's how you treat other people? You're not nice to other people. You're not gracious to other people. And that's the one thing. It's not like one of those things where, I mean, obviously like a Joe Mixon situation. Obviously that's like, to me,
he didn't punch his girlfriend in the face.
He didn't punch his girlfriend in the face. He didn't Greg Hardy his girlfriend. But I'm still putting it in there. Like, if I'm putting it as a red flag, it's like the little flag that you get on your burger to let you know it's a medium well burger. But like, that's what it is. And that's, to me, the one of two differences between Reddick and Foster. The other Reddick, or the other difference is Reddick, you mentioned it, he's versatile. He can play inside, he can play outside. In a 4-3 and a 3-4, And to me, ultimately, that's why I may lean most times, maybe like 8.5, 9 out of 10 times, I may lean with Reddick. Because the thing is if he keeps rising, had a great Senior Bowl performance, I believe he was named one of the MVPs at the Combine. This is a guy, because of his versatility and because what like he can do on the inside and the outside, it's going to come down to a team that needs a linebacker of, okay, we need an inside linebacker. We could go at Foster, but then he's penciled in an inside linebacker. Or a team could go, yeah, we could just need a linebacker. And we could just draft him and then figure out if he's going to be inside or outside. Or he can switch and kind of be fluid with whatever the game calls for. That's why I kind of hesitantly want to lean towards Haason Reddick, because of that versatility in a league where you just take the best defensive playmaker and let him go to work.
Yeah, if you're a team that needs an inside linebacker, I think you definitely go with Foster. If you're a team that just needs somebody who's a linebacker, potentially a defensive end, if you're in the Chicago Bears situation last year where they just need somebody out there, and there's certainly a lot of teams out there this year that are going to be in that situation, then you're going to probably, give Reddick a thought. I still think that the level of kind of talent there right now is definitely different between these guys. Foster's definitely at a different level at the moment than Reddick is. And sure, could Reddick easily catch up and get there? Yeah, I think both these guys have Pro Bowl potential without a doubt. But Foster has rookie year Pro Bowl potential defensive rookie of the year abilities, where Reddick, I think he takes a few years to really kind of find his groove and get into it, and really kind of come up to the NFL speed. Not that he, lacks speed or anything like that, but I think will have a little bit of adjusting to the game.
Well, and it's exactly like I'm looking at Mel Kiper's mock draft. He even says when he gets to Reuben Foster, who he has going to the Colts, he says, and I quote, I don't have Foster dropping because of his bizarre combine ejection. He's dropping here because not many teams above the Colts at 15 need a true linebacker. And he goes on to talk about how the Saints and the Bengals, they have both signed inside linebackers. They could use an inside linebacker. I know the Bengals, I believe, just got rid of Ray Malaluga after they signed Minters. They get rid of Malaluga. Now you can bring Foster on as a backup maybe, or kind of that guy behind Minters. But really, there's no team that needs a true. And actually, I'm going to disagree with Mel Kiper here, because there's one team I think could use a true inside linebacker before 15, but they may not go at 15, may not go defensive on that one, because they could go quarterback, is the Cardinals. The Cardinals, if they choose to, fuck it, we're not going to take Carson Palmer's successor at 13, they could go inside linebacker. They need an inside linebacker for their team. But you look at the Bengals, you look at the Saints, they're ones that really, they don't need that true inside linebacker like a Foster, and that alone could force him to drop, just because we don't have a need for it. We need a guy that's more versatile that can play both inside and outside.
It's certainly possible, and you definitely get that flexibility there. And that's something with the NFL, is you have to be able to face anything, and having a guy like that is very valuable. But to me, I mean, sure, you could say there's not that many teams that really need that inside linebacker, but I think that you're going to be kind of hard-pressed to pass on that if it's even something that you're thinking you might want to have that guy. You might want to have that guy on the inside. I think it'll be kind of tough to pass on Foster just because of how talented he is. Just kind of no one's questioning, is he going to be great in the NFL? People are saying, oh, maybe he's going to be kind of a shitty person outside of the locker room, but everyone knows on the field he's going to be a fucking monster.
Well, and that's the reason why, with me, I'll give you guys a spoiler alert. This is not, my mock draft is not completely done. Like right now, I'm up to the Redskin pick as we're here on, what's today's date? The 27th of March. And I actually have Reuben Foster. Although I have said that if you gave me gun to the head, I got to pick the two, I would go with Reddick over Foster if it was me. I actually have Foster going ahead of Reddick in my mock draft. And the reason being, the team that I have Foster going to is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know you're sitting there, but Ricky, you just said that the Bengals are one of those teams that they might go with a guy that could play more inside or outside. And I look at it and I go, okay, they got Kevin Minter. They just got rid of Ray Malaluga. They already have Flowers and Burfict on the outside. This is one of those things where it's like, fuck it, let's take the best inside linebacker and have Minters and him in the middle. Plus, it's the one team where I know I'm saying it's a minor red flag, like that little flag you put in the hamburger. Mm-hmm. But the Bengals are a team that's not afraid to take a guy, sign a guy, have a guy on their team that may have some character issues.
Yeah, we've seen it.
I'm looking at you. That's the big thing where this team isn't going to say, nah, you know what? They even have Adam Pac-Man Jones on this team. Like, this isn't a team where it's like, fuck it, we're going to pass on him because he's got that one character issue. So that's why I have them taking Foster at, 9, because they could use a linebacker and they would be a team that wouldn't be afraid to take him because of what did happen at the Combine.
Yeah. And I think that, yes, teams are concerned, and we see that every year. Mm-hmm. There's people who drop off the big boards, and suddenly their first-round talent that gets drafted in the third round or something.
Look at Tunsil, just for having a mask on his face.
Yeah, some kind of mask. What great timing that was.
It's all about timing.
It is. But I don't think this is that damaging to him. Mm-hmm. And I don't think teams are going to be anywhere near as concerned as people in mock draft world are pretending they will be.
Well, and it's one of those things where I'll ask you this. Mm-hmm. If you're the Bengals or I'm giving you 4 teams. Bengals, Saints, Cardinals, and Colts. Out of those 4 teams, in those order, Bengals, Saints, Cardinals, Colts, where does Foster, if you have to pick Foster and Reddick to any of those 4 teams, who does Foster go to? Who does Reddick go to?
I like Foster to the Colts a lot, if it could happen. Kind of like Reddick to the Saints, which I know kind of goes in the opposite of what I was saying.
You're agreeing with Mel Kiper, though.
Am I?
Exactly. He's got Foster to the Colts and Reddick to the Saints.
I know it goes into the opposite of what I was saying before. I like Foster more than Reddick, but I think those two combinations will be the best for both those players. It'll certainly help, and both those teams, they definitely need those guys.
Well, and that's the thing that's interesting about this draft is we kind of mentioned it with each of this is now the third player versus player that we've talked about, where we talk about Malik Hooker and Jamal Adams, and really the question was for them, with the Bears, who would the Bears want? Would they want a Jamal Adams? Would they want a Malik Hooker? In my 2.0, I said Malik Hooker without a doubt because I'm like, he's got the ball skills to get those interceptions.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, guys? Free agency happened. There have been some corners picked up by the Bears, some safeties picked up by the Bears, where now I'm flipping the script. Jamal Adams is the guy. They need that safety that isn't afraid to come up and play in the box because they have a safety now on the other side that can get those interceptions and kind of be the ball hawk in the backfield. And then when it comes to Solomon Thomas and Allen, who we talked about, really it's one of those things. We looked at the Niners. What do they want? Do they want a guy who's versatile? Do they want an explosive talent on the outside? Same thing happens here. What do you want? Do you want a guy who he is basically, boom, foundation, inside linebacker, top 5 talent, go ahead and take him? That's Reuben Foster. Do you want a guy who can play inside, can play outside, can be a pass rusher, can play in the 4-3, can play in the 3-4? Then you take Haason Reddick. So it's versatility versus the top 5 talent and just an inside linebacker of Foster.
For sure. And this is, we say it a lot that it's one of those drafts that has such strong defensive talents. But it's awesome, and I forget who said it in one of our videos, but it's awesome that we can have these debates at so many different positions, and it's not a sure thing in various spots. No, it's great. I love this draft.
Yeah,
draft.
I was going to bring that up as well because I remember seeing that comment that was on our Jonathan Allen and our Solomon Thomas video, and it's like that is to me, like after seeing that comment,
that's how you know it's a good draft.
Well, it's one of those things where it's not a boring draft. I hate, like, how many times do we hate those drafts where it's just like, yeah, you know what? He's gonna go one. He's gonna go
one,
like
2, 3.
Like I want to think of the Andrew Luck RG3 draft. That one, for the longest time, you knew Andrew Luck was number 1. RG3 was going to be number 2. You knew that was going to happen because the Rams were going to trade that pick, and they eventually did.
Even last year with Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, and people tried to make that debate, and we had that debate before, but it really wasn't much of a debate. Everybody knew Jared Goff was going to be the first one, and then Carson Wentz was going to go, especially because both teams traded. So, all right, quarterback. No surprise. I mean, it was a while back since, who was it? Fisher? Was it Fisher?
Eric Fisher.
Who was the surprise of like, oh, all right.
You're
a
talking
guy from the MAC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Central Michigan.
Yeah, from Central Michigan going number 1 overall.
And that was the Chiefs that took him. Correct? I'm gonna double check it. It was Fisher. For some reason I wanted to say Eric Flowers. I'm like, no, it's not. No. It's not Eric Flowers. It's Eric Fisher. But yeah, that's the big thing about this draft is we can have debates like this, and then we can ask you guys, like I am right now, what do you guys think? Would you take Foster? Would you guys take not Solomon Thomas, Haason Reddick? 1v1. Which one would you take? Or
Solomon Thomas. Would you take him instead?
Well, and that's the thing.
I mean, you can when you start talking about Reddick at defensive
Reddick,
ends.
You can put him at, like I said, like before we started the segment, ESPN has him as a linebacker. NFL.com has him as a defensive end. So let us know what you think. Which one would you take? Which one do you think is going to go off the board? And which teams do you think will take these two guys when we get to the NFL draft at the end of May?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.